What's good, Commanders fans? Day 15 or 14 of Commanders training camp. There's been so many days I'm getting lost here. But I want to thank you guys for definitely tuning in every episode or video that I made about training camp. Thank you guys for tuning in for sure. I will be there in person tomorrow at the Commanders Ravens joint practice, so I'm super excited for that. That's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see the guys in person, especially against Lamar Jackson, Odell Beckham, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman. I was a big fan of him coming out. The Ravens, they have a darn good team, and they are certainly a perennial playoff team, and they always win in the preseason. They haven't lost a preseason game with the last 5 or 6 years or something crazy, even though it doesn't really matter. It still is insane that they've won that many preseason games. Shout out to Pedro. Shout out to Mason Kinahan again for the videos in the beginning. Pedro had those videos of Jahan Dotson getting a touchdown and then cooking Rashad Wildgoose on a one-on-one. Shout out to my guy Mason Kinahan. Make sure you guys subscribe to his channel. I'm going to put the video down below. The link, I was on his channel last night. We were talking about the Browns game and recapping that and just some other topics for the Commanders for sure. So make sure you guys subscribe to my guy Mason's channel, man. He is definitely coming up, man. He's been cooking with a lot of training camp content. Make sure you guys follow him on Twitter. It's Mason underscore Kinahan as well. So he's been cooking up a lot of content on Twitter and on YouTube for training camp for sure. So shout out to Mason for sure. All right, so let's get to some play-by-play. So we had a couple scares here today. Sam Cosmi, he hyperextended his knee. I'm gonna read what Ron Rivera had to say about Sam Cosmi, but Rivera said it looked like Sam Cosmi hyperextended his knee, but was fine. He was moving around pretty well. So a lot of people were concerned. You know, he went to the tent. He was in a lot of pain. So and then he did go back in on one-on-ones. He did play, and then he did go up against Daron Payne. So that's good news for Sam Cosmi right there. And then also Nikki Javala said that Antonio Gibson limped off the field after practice with assistant athletic trainer Mashiro Takahagi. Not sure yet what's going on with him. And then Ben Stanley tweeted out that Antonio Gibson dealt with cramps late in practice. He was told reporters saw him leaving the field with a trainer. Hopefully this is indeed minor. So we got some good news after some bad news there, because Sam Cosmi, we're going to need him, man. This offensive line is already thin. And Sam Cosmi, he's missed a good amount of games already in his career. He had the hand injury. He missed a good amount of games. He did try to play through it last year, but he has missed a good amount of games in 2 seasons. And then Gibson's been pretty healthy for the most part. He had the turf toe his rookie year. Then I want to say he missed a few games last year, but for the most part, he's been available, and he's been pretty darn good. So you never want to see injuries. But if it's just cramps, I think he definitely should be fine for sure. And then, of course, Logan Thomas did not practice today. Once again, definitely keeping an eye on his situation. Fedarian Mathis with a calf injury was out. Definitely keeping an eye on Fedarian Mathis. And then Chase Young with a stinger was in pads, and he was going through early individual drills. So those are some of the injury updates that I have so far from some of the beat reporters. So we'll get into the play-by-play here and then wrap it up. So Mason says Ricky Stromberg getting snaps at right guard. So keep an eye on Ricky Stromberg. He was drafted as a center, did play center in college at Arkansas, but he does have positional flex that Ron Rivera loves. So it looks like he'll be playing at right guard a little bit as a backup. Zach Selby says offensive line and D-line working on pass rush drills. Sadiq Charles working in with the ones. Had a nice rep working with Charles Leno as the 2 passed on a stunt by Jonathan Allen and F.A. Obata. So will Sadiq Charles play on Monday night against the Ravens? I hope so. I do want to see him play. It is supposed to be a competition between him and Chris Paul, but, you know, he just hasn't been available at all in his career. So we'll see, because, Chris Paul looked pretty good on Friday night. He looked pretty good. Didn't give up many pressures, but he looked pretty good. He looked solid. He looked good in that Cowboys game, the last game of the season. So if Sadiq's going to be out, then, I don't see any problem with Chris Paul starting. I mean, Dalton Risner is a free agent guard that's available. So if they don't like what they're seeing from Chris Paul, then they could potentially go out and get Dalton Risner. But we all know Ron Rivera's not going to do anything like that. But Sadiq Charles in his first 2 seasons, he just has not been able to be healthy at all. He just has not. Former 4th-round pick. So Ron Rivera said, my page refreshed here. We're going to get some more play-by-play here. Zach Selby says Zion Balance just had a really nice rep working against Emmanuel Forrest. Made a move near the line of scrimmage on 1-versus-1, on one-on-ones to create some separation. So good move by Zion Balance on Emmanuel Forbes. Nikki Javala says the top of Jahan Dotson's routes are ridiculous. He just juked Rashad Wildgoose during one-on-ones. And to be fair to Wildgoose, I don't know that anyone could cover that. So Jahan Dotson, he was already talking trash. Not really talking trash, but just being honest on that interview when he got the touchdown on the sidelines. He had the interview with Logan Paulson. And he said, if you put a safety on me, that's a mismatch. I'm just paraphrasing, but basically he said, whenever you put a safety on me, and Rashad Wildgoose is a corner, so But I don't think anybody can really check Jahan. I think he's definitely a breakout candidate, or could be our breakout player this year. I already thought he had a really good rookie season with 7 touchdowns and missed a bunch of games, and he was still leading rookie wide receivers in touchdowns. And he's a good red zone target too, man. So he's always getting open. He's a great route runner, has good hands. The sky is the limit for Jahan Dotson, man. He's going to be really good this year. Him, Terry, they're going to be a nasty duo. We have a nasty trio with Terry, Jahan, and Curtis. I love our wide receiver core. Jahan is just so talented, and he's going to get better and better each year for sure. And Pedro said that Jahan Dotson was dominating today, and he caught a touchdown pass from Sam Howell as well. That was a clip that I showed earlier. Shout out to Pedro. Zach Shelby says Forbes opens up team drills with a pass breakup of Jahan Dotson. After the play, Eric Bieniemy yelled to Dotson, "You got to fight for it, Jahan." So we know how tough EB is. You know how motivating, how intense he is. He's always getting on the guys just to get the best out of him. He said to Jahan earlier in training camp that it's his job to get the best out of Jahan Dotson. So it looks like Jahan Dotson is playing really well in practice and already in that preseason game with a really nice touchdown nice touchdown catch against the Browns. So these are some of the tweets I'm going through where Nikki Zavala says Sam Cosmi went down during team drills, limping off the field with the help of trainers. Zach Selby says, really pretty pass from Howell to Dotson, who hauled it in near the sideline. The crowd went crazy. They did have artificial noise today at practice, so they're trying to get the guys ready for playing on the road in a hostile environment. Chris Paul did replace Sam Cosmi at right guard. So if Sam Cosmi, knock on wood, does go down, Chris Paul would be playing at right guard. Sadiq most likely would be playing at left guard. If Sadiq is available, Nick Gates obviously at center, and then Andrew Wiley at right tackle. Zach Selby says he already talked about he's talking about the speakers, and Pedro says Jahan Dotson is absolutely dominating. He's going to be a problem this year, man. I think Jahan can get 1,000-yard receiving yard season. I really do. If the offensive line can hold up, I think we can have two 1,000-yard receivers with Terry and Jahan, and then Curtis can give you like 700, 800 yards and maybe like 200 yards on the ground. So that would be awesome. Pedro says Sam Howell extends the play and throws a dot to Terry McLaurin. Jeremy Reeves did get an interception on Sam Howell. It's funny because fans, they're not overreacting when Sam Howell throws an interception in practice anymore, because about a week ago, every time Sam threw a pick, everybody was saying something negative and going crazy and just panicking. Castro Fields had a nice pass breakup working against Byron Pringle. EB really emphasizing to his players that they need to fight for the ball once again. So good play by Castro Fields. Ben St. Juice did not practice as well today. He's dealing with an ankle tweak per Ron Rivera. They kept him out of practice for caution. That was the word from Ron Rivera. The offensive line coach, Travell Warden, had back surgery as well. He was not there today. Dax Milne had a nice grab where Nick Zavala said he had a one-handed catch along the sideline that gave the defense the bird on his way back to the line of scrimmage. We might as well end camp right now. So I don't know if she's talking about the middle finger. Flipping a bird. I don't know what kind of bird she's talking about, but that's pretty hilarious from Dax Milne. And Dax Milne, he's not a bad player. He kind of reminds me of Trey Quinn a little bit. I think he can be a solid slot receiver, but he's like a good 5th, 6th receiver on the team. That's just what he is. He's solid. I think he's a solid average player, and he's a 7th-round pick, so he's kind of playing like where he was drafted, to be honest with you. Nikki Zavala says Ron Rivera said Montez Sweat has looked very good in camp. You just know he's ready to take the next step. Very similar to what we saw with Deron Payne last year. So he's just got to finish plays. We saw Chase Young didn't finish that play against Deshaun Watson with the sack. So and Montez kind of does similar things, like he'll be right there, but he's just a half a second late, or the quarterback spins out of the sack. So he's just got to finish. And Deron Payne did a good job of that last year, finishing plays and finishing getting with sacks, or finishing in ending plays with sacks. Ron Rivera makes it clear that as Commanders head to Baltimore for joint practice, we don't want any BS. Ron Rivera says the Ravens are a great test, one of the best franchises in the NFL, and he wants his players to get great work competing against a very good football team. So I'm excited. I feel like there's definitely going to be a fight out there. There's usually a fight in joint practices, so I'm not saying I want to go out there and see a fight, but it is what it is. Tempers may flare, and I want it to be very, very competitive. I love when we had the joint practice and DJ Swearinger got up in Terrell Pryor's face. I love that with a passion. So I definitely want to see tempers flare and be physical for sure. I really do, but definitely stay healthy for sure. So I do want to see very competitive football out there for our Commanders versus the Ravens. Battle of the Beltway. So all right, you guys let me know what you guys think about today. What do you guys want to see tomorrow? I'm gonna try my best to record plays and stuff like that. So you guys let me know what you guys want to see. Held to Commanders. Peace.